I mean, I guess the problem with being a gaming dad is we're getting older. We're not the spring chickens that we were. And we were talking about balding basically before the show, but I mean, there's a lot of like plastic surgery stuff that people can consider. And I can remember a time when plastic surgery was kind of taboo. But I mean, these days you mentioned Botox and nobody even raises an eyebrow.
Wow.
Hey, long story.
There we go.
How does it feel like to sit there knowing it's coming? You're like, oh, just get it over with. Say the punchline.
It's like the kids in the car. Are we there yet? Do you know what I mean? Like, we know that it's coming. Where's it going to be?
Just say it. I got to be a bit more natural. But meanwhile, the adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Okay, so besides terrible puns,
Right.
we're doing our best to have another great gaming week, especially as fathers, and I had a great gaming dad win, a great gaming dad victory in many ways.
Great, good to hear.
So one of our favorite activities now is we'll eat supper, and if the kids have been good, they've done any homework they need to do, if they didn't act up in school, we'll play a game. Usually at night after supper is game time.
Okay.
This particular night I had some cleanup to do, so I was doing some dishes, I had some other things to arrange, so I was a little bit delayed. It's like, okay, Dad, whenever you can, just come down and play when you can. And I walk downstairs to where the system is, and they have me all set up. They have my chair sitting in front of the TV. They have my little nunchuck, a Joy-Con just sitting on the chair waiting. It's already hooked up, and they've got like, okay, Dad, all you have to do is choose your character.
Perfect.
They had set it all up. They were waiting for me, and just to walk into the scene where the seat is ready, the controller's ready. I suppose all I was missing was a beer, really.
That's the next step that you have to get them to do, right?
It's just a beautiful little scene. Like, wow, like that's so nice, guys. Like, and they waited for me. They didn't go ahead and just play. And we launched in. We're still on our boomerang foo kick, actually, at the moment.
Perfect. That's an amazing, adorable moment. It must have, like, when you come down and see that kind of scene. I remember when I felt like the kids actually wanted me there. That was a great moment, right?
Years ago.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And Boomerang Foo, again, good.
Still highly recommended from a gaming dad perspective. I don't take it for granted, honestly, where this time with them is really fantastic because they're older, they have likes, you can speak with them, they become people. They're not just bags of need. They're
right.
actual, like, growing beings you get to interact with, but they still really want to interact with me. Like they very much want me involved with whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's something that I appreciate that could go away. Right. Or not that it will go away. Like they're going to get
diminish,
friends.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. They're going to, go on and be their own people. Like, have you already started to see that with yours and you miss it, or where are you at with that?
Definitely the preteen nature is coming into play where there's
preteen nature.
Ah, man, it hurts me to even say that. I'm like, he's going to be a teenager so soon. But no, he'll go out with his friends and just hang out on the porch. And that's what he wants to do instead of, like, usually that hour of screen time was something that we could do together, right? But now he wants to go out and do, kind of like the iPad screen time with his friends there. I'm like, oh, well, you know who taught you that game, son? That was old Dad, Don't forget about him. Level 1 over here. I need your help.
Are you gonna be the type of dad who like moseys out with his like Generation 1 iPad?
Absolutely.
Well, boyos. Let me show you something.
What's happening in Minecraft? Let's do it. Let's go.
You've heard of ninjas, but have you heard of fruit ninjas? Let me show you a little something.
No, Dad. Go away, Dad.
Dad.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It'll happen. But I will totally do it.
It'll be a problem. You tell me, and that's definitely a gaming dad victory immediately. We'd love to hear from any fellow gaming dads if you have had a sweet moment like I had, if you are starting to see your gaming buddy branch off into his own friends, reach out to us at New Dad Gaming or at our website, newdadgaming.com. But we last week discussed, and we had a bit of a few Twitter interactions, or you did as well, with demos and how demos are run on PlayStation. Can you run us through that?
Yeah, so PlayStation said, hey, we're introducing game trials again. I'm like,
That's
that
good.
sounds cool. A demo. Who would have thought, right?
Very good. We did it. We won.
But there's very strict specifications around these trials. It's a 6-hour trial, which sounds like a lot, but as soon as you hit download, that timer starts and it does not stop. So
in this day and age, that's just so bizarre.
Why? Like, I don't understand why. Like, at least do it in game time, right? Like, that makes sense to me. 6 hours, that's a good chunk.
Yeah, so you should load up the game for the first time. Give me 6. But like, if your bandwidth like goes down the toilet, you, God forbid, you lose internet that night.
Yeah,
that's happened. Like, we've canceled shows because I lost internet for a day and a bit.
Yeah.
So if I downloaded Death Stranding, it's like, well.
Yeah, and it's not like demo size. This is the full game. So this was 48 gigs. And I know a lot of people are on there like, yeah, my internet connection is awesome. I get a gig a second or whatever, or a gigabit. And I had to rearrange my whole room and the family room to get a hardwire connection because I wasn't going to let this go. I needed a hardwire connection to get as much bandwidth as I could to download this game. So it took a good 50 minutes to get it down and installed. And then I had to make sure that I had that block of time to play it because you can't just let it sit there because the timer will expire and then that's it.
Oh,
right?
That's okay. So that is a. Sorry, I didn't even connect the dots on that. That's a particularly frustrating for a gaming dad.
Yes, it is.
Because like the thought that you would find this like 6-hour block to play, like who knows how long it's going to take to download. It's going to take anywhere from 30 minutes to 4 hours, depending on where it is, and then that's still the block that you have to play.
Yeah.
Unless there's a baby crying, like dishes, groceries to do, a job. It's just
life issues, right? Like my kids, they're in like nightmare mode, right? So they'll wake up and they've had a scary dream and like, God forbid this comes up. And yeah, I will go and do my dad responsibilities. Not a problem. But then I miss out on something that like, hey, I was kind of interested in. It's really just a ridiculous rule. Like fix it, right? Like
arbitrary. It
doesn't make a difference to Sony, or in this case it was Death Stranding, right? So like it doesn't make a difference to them. But I ended up doing it. I ended up blocking out that time. I did not have any interruptions. And I sat down to play this weird game.
Good thing it was a demo.
Yeah, it is. If anybody doesn't know, it's Kojima, who's the Metal Gear Solid kind of brainy, I don't know. He's the man behind the curtain on all the Metal Gear Solid stuff. And this one is his own vision. So it is a crazy, a lot of people call it a walking simulator, but it is not that. It is just filled with like creativity and a lot of crazy music that somehow complements the whole landscape of it. But it is a dad simulator. And the way I will say that is basically you are a mailman. You are somebody that has to travel across the United States to connect everyone together and bring packages. And the way the packages work is, at least in the beginning in my 6-hour playthrough, is that it has weight, but it's not like it disappears and it just goes against your weight limit. You physically feel in the controller where the weight is sitting. So you can put stuff on your back and then you can put stuff in your arms, but you physically have to hold down the triggers to hold what you're holding. So if you let go of the trigger, you drop the box or whatever package it is, right? And the triggers, because they're adaptive and there's haptics in it, will be harder to press in depending on the weight of the package that you bring. So all I was thinking is like, back in the day when you were like lugging the stroller out of the car, you had the diaper bags, you had like the food that you know your kid could snack on, and you had everything else of your own stuff. That's what this is.
You're just doing the heroic dad feat, like just 60 packs on his, not to mention a kid probably on one of your shoulders, and you're just careening towards the mall because you have to do a photo shoot or some nonsense.
Exactly.
That
and then
crazy.
Eventually in the game you do get the kid in the front, so it's like a baby Bjorn that you wear on the front of you with this little fetus that is supposed to tell when, you know, stuff gets bad and like there's monsters in the game that can swallow you up kind of thing. And that's like the indicator. That's the canary in the mine, this baby. So it is just a bananas game. I will say the trial kind of worked on me because I would not have played this. I would be like, I don't really feel like, I don't know, putting my dad life into a video game again. So, you know, but it just ended up to be this awesome, kind of fresh. Like everything that you thought could be a game, it's just like this kind of just smashes through those barriers and is its own thing. And somehow it works and it's engaging. So I will totally recommend people, if they want a demo of it, make sure you block out the time. Maybe take a vacation day, sick day, have the bandwidth ready, and download this.
Guesstimate how fast your internet is so you can time it perfectly to whatever 2 hours to 3 hours you block to actually play it.
Exactly.
Oof. But
no, it ended up being okay. Like, it was good, but again, I don't know how the demos would work like this going forward, especially with other games that are just going to grow in size. So either cut down the size or make the game time the timer for gaming dads. That makes more sense.
It feels like such an easy win. Like it feels so intuitively obvious. I hope there's enough pushback from them. Might be something to kind of tweet at them about or write. Listen, as a busy father with so many lives, and like who knows with bandwidth, I really need you to wait until I press the start button for this timer.
Right, and again, you talk very highly about Game Pass. So like, if they're gonna compete anywhere in that realm, like at least make the demos free of any kind of restriction, right? Where Game Pass, you could jump into a game for $1 a month and not worry for the full game, right? So
one final last point. I just saw on the live version of this podcast recording, we have the game streaming, and I just noticed that it says Monster Energy drink consumed.
Yes.
Is there product placement?
There used to be. I think the license ran out because now it's all replaced with in-game, like their own brand of. It's to boost your stats.
Can you have like dad beers and it terribly slows down your ability to run?
Yeah, it should be like dad stressors that just build up over time, like the baby cries, kind of like Yoshi's Island, like Super Mario World 2. Like the baby cries and you have to go rescue it before 10 seconds is out.
You just get that dad like anger meeting, where you'll have more power, but you'll have less control.
Exactly. Yeah.
It would be too perfect. Now, speaking about control and a dad's frustration, it also seemed like you had a bit of an issue beating a certain boss that your kids didn't seem to have a problem beating.
Yeah.
So, kind of curious, like the ribbing you took at from your kids around not being able to beat the boss that they could beat.
Yeah, I don't usually admit defeat, Trevor, but this one, this is defeat. And I've played Dark Souls. I've played Demon Souls. This boss was insane. And the funny part is, as you mentioned, is this is in Kenna Bridge of Spirits, so it's a game that just came out from like a indie studio. It's their first game.
Yeah. So I don't want to blast through that too much. It should be noted like you have beaten Dark Souls.
Yes.
Right. So the idea of like dodging and slashing and a high difficulty curve,
parry. Yep.
You're on it. So this is just to kind of set the to give you some credibility around how hard this boss is. This is a Dark Souls completer talking.
Yeah. And there's, again, in Dark Souls and Demon Souls, there's no difficulty level, but you can obviously like build up your character to get around, and it's all about timing. This is normal mode. So I thought normal mode, hey, this is nothing, right? So I'm stuck on this boss that is absolutely just killing me, just taking me for a ride. I'm not even getting in good hits, nowhere near complete. My son, my younger son, my 8-year-old son.
My boy.
Who's supposed to be on my side, Trevor. He's supposed to be there to support me. He walks in, and he's like, "Oh, you're playing the game, Dad," because this is a game that they are further ahead of me in this, and they're on their own path. But he's like, "Why are you dying so much? Like, why is this guy giving you a hard time? He's pretty easy." I'm it was the slow turnaround.
Wow.
Like, please. I don't want to hear that right now. You're supposed to be giving me tips.
Just digging in the knife and like twisting. Why are you dying so much, Dad? He's so easy. I've beaten him.
I mean, when we started out, this show is about showing off to your kids. Like, hey, look, I was raised on games. I know how this works. Let me introduce you. Come along. Right? Yeah. And now it's just like the student has become the master kind of thing. And he's like, no. this guy's easy peasy. Now, granted, he's on like a lower difficulty, but I'm not gonna. Well, I could say that to him, but I'm not gonna say that to him. I'm gonna be like, you know what? He is really giving me a tough time. If you can beat him, or let me know how to, that would be very helpful to Dad. That's having.
Yeah. You wanna help an old man out as opposed to kicking him when he's down.
Yeah, you can see like the vein in the side of my head, kind of just. All right, it's not happening for me. You should be easy.
That's gonna happen, right? Like
I
you're
know.
right on the precipice of this becoming a reality, which I think we knew was coming as far as our kids surpassing our gaming ability.
It is happening now, and even in Terraria and in Minecraft, they run circles around me on those games. And when we get into the co-op stuff, I kind of look forward to like doing an MMORPG online with them, or like even an online shooter with them. That'd be kind of cool, like when they're older. But man, if it works out like this, like I don't need that stress in my life.
I need to take this like guff from them all the time.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to be put down. I got a job and a wife for that. I don't like.
That's right. He's just putting me on blast. You just say, hey, like you don't know what you're doing. I know more than you. So yeah, maybe. Okay.
He's super easy.
Help your old man out.
I had that small taste of it when my son had beat me a few times with Mario Kart.
Right.
Which, by the way, I actually found the trick is, I do think that he's close. Like, by the way, like I don't want to like excuse myself. Not that great. He's getting much better.
Yeah.
So, not trying to say like here's thus the reason. I have found that I'm much more successful if I just wait for him to choose something and then I choose the exact same configuration.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because
All right.
like I've started to notice like the carts seem to have a much larger impact than I would have imagined. I thought it was really aesthetic, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong on that. Like, happy to, if anybody want to tweet at us and correct me on my Mario Kart knowledge, happy to do so.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
feel
wow.
good, eh? It doesn't.
Ooh.
It's something you have to get used to. I imagine, like, again, we're teaching these kids to be better than us, right? So we got to be careful.
Depends on the play. The other side of that coin, I would think, would be we'll get to a spot where we can now cooperatively play. You mentioned like let's play an MMORPG together, let's play a shooter together. Like the thought that you could join up with them and now they're quite capable, so they're just they're your equal and we're gonna play this game co-op together.
Yeah,
That sounds fantastic.
that does actually. So
like you finally get your gaming buddy.
yeah, for life. Let's do it.
Well, they're gonna move out at some point, Jeff.
You know, come on. We're gonna be in the retirement homes playing. I don't know, Skyrim super special edition.
That'll be the visit, right? So they come to the retirement home.
Yes.
And the whole 2-hour thing is just us like playing whatever game. Yeah, Smash Brothers 50.
Yes.
Whatever exists
There you
at the time. That would be fantastic.
That's the dream.
Oh, now there was another interesting thread we'd find where Final Fantasy 13 came to Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
So anybody who remember, that's with Lightning. So that's with the slightly purpled hair girl with the large sword. There was a surfer dude. There was a cool guy who had a chocobo in his hair. Like, you know,
It sounds like any Final Fantasy kind.
that's a problem. As it was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, what game am I even describing?
Surfer dude. I'm like, Final Fantasy 10. Is it Final Fantasy 10?
Cool guy with a bird. I'm like, I'm trying to think of like a bird at any point. Anyways, with Lightning, they released a second follow-up to that, which I'd never played. I remember I played 13. It was great. You had asked me, did you, hey, there's a HD remaster released on Game Pass. Did you play it? I was like,
Right.
no.
Jump back in. No, that's not gonna happen. All right.
I played it. I liked it at the time. I don't think it received way too much heat. I don't think it was really well deserved.
Yeah.
They certainly had its problems because for the first half of the game you were just on rails. Like there was no options. Like you pretty much just went down corridors for the first half of the game. Eventually it opened up though, and the combat was a lot of fun. I kind of like the characters. I couldn't tell you at all what the story. I have no idea what happened. I beat it. I can't even begin to surmise what happened.
That's why you should jump back in. I'm just saying. Yeah. What's 40 hours of your
What's
life?
40 hours? Yeah, they're fighting. I can't. I'm struggling. I'm trying to think. It's like there's some sort of like evil corporation, and there's like magic.
It sounds like Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. I'm just saying.
They live in like, I think it's a sky world that's kind of held up, and then like crystals from the magic keeps it afloat, and it's at risk. At the end, I think they land on the ground and like they walk in the wilderness.
I mean, I don't think you spoiled anything. Like, really, I think that's pretty general.
Anyway, so that it relates back to, interestingly enough, was Final Fantasy 12.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Jeff and I had both, like a couple episodes ago, we had discussed that. Both of us kind of jumped back into it, rediscovered love of it, because it's very much an offline MMORPG.
Yeah.
The way that's like set up, cool characters. You got to be careful with the bunny and explain the context to your kids or your wife, because it's a bunny character that is not safe for work necessarily. If it shows
just
up,
not dressed to fight. I would just say
it's a bit silly. Anyways, but what's ended up happening here, and I don't know if you've experienced something similar, or any other gaming dads listening has, is the Switch has very much kind of become the kid console.
Yes.
So that's the one. That's their primary system, right? So they have their games on it. That's where they play. I have my Xbox. Yeah. There's the two. Yep. So I had it purchased for the Switch, which is great because it's portable and like wonderful. It's a nice remaster, but with the space limitations, like it's just every single time they wanted to play some other game, there's like a list of ones like, all right, what are you going to delete? And every single time, like 12 showed up there, and I had gone, let's call it 20 hours in.
Yep.
I don't even know what's that. Let's call it like 12, whatever. Like 12 hours in, and every single time the option came up, it's like,
oh no,
like, because I know you guys play all these other games all the time, and if I delete one of these, we're gonna have to do this whole song and dance again.
Yeah.
So with it coming to Game Pass, it was the ultimate decision that, like, all right, that's basically your console. I keep having to, delete other games that you want to keep playing. So be it. Final Fantasy 12 is off of that. I'm going to have to redo those 12 hours now on the Xbox instead.
Yeah, and with this game, just to kind of go in with that, I find it's really easy to pick up and game with the Switch. And I think that's the whole genius part around the Switch, where I could just curl up on the couch, just a lamp on, and play a pretty full-fledged game, right? Where with a console, my console's not that far away. It's still in the same room, but something about it is just like I almost have to be more prepared to get into it. It's just something about it where I can take Nintendo wherever I want. I don't even move around that much, but it just seems like, hey, it's just this little small screen. I'm kind of like an intimate, almost like going to see a band, right? Where you can see them in a restaurant versus a theater. And I think the PlayStation or the Xbox is like this full-fledged theater with like surround sound and things are popping off the screen. Or you can just like kind of sit and digest and kind of relax with this little, portable machine. So I totally get that. And it's, I will fight my kids over the hard drive space. I bought this memory card. I bought this. So you get your own memory card. But I can see where you're coming from. Cause
you can use your allowance to get yours. You don't need this.
Yeah. God forbid I get The Witcher on there. Again, I haven't pulled the trigger on that. But, that's a 30 gig game that sits on that card. So, yeah, I feel you. I can see where that can be, you're kind of pushed off. I don't know if you play it less now, though, because of that. Because I would. If I couldn't, pick it up.
What I'm trying to convince myself, too, is with Game Pass, I have the Ultimate, and that lets me stream either games directly from the online service or from my own console to my iPad anywhere in the house.
Oh, okay,
with a controller.
Right. Yep.
So technically, like, I have all the pieces where it's like, all right, let's finally use this service that I'm paying for and be a bit more mobile. So I don't have to be down in like the room with the game. I can just be, let's do a quick play session as I'm relaxing in bed before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Type of thing. I think it is a bit different. It kind of dovetails nicely into a conversation we've had before about just play the game. Like if you have some time, get over yourself, get into the game. But the steps needed to get into it can be greater. So with the Switch, I think it's a lot like a mobile phone, where it's like that device, and it has everything you need because it has the 2 Joy-Cons attached to it, right?
Right.
Grab it, pick it up. That thing is your entire gaming world, and it's got a huge game library. It's got the games itself are like big and full and fleshed out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas as silly as it might sound, like the pieces involved with a console gaming session is at least 3, right? It's like TV, the console itself, and the external controller.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand like Joy-Cons detached, but like, as far as mobile, like it's attached to it. So I think, there's weight to that, where there's like 3 pieces that you have to consume. You're going to have to be on a couch, like a particular spot, because you're not moving the place around.
Right.
Okay, kids are doing homework, so I can't game in the dining room, so I'm going to go over to the living room, or I'm going to go to the, out to the patio, of all sakes. Whereas console, it's like, here's my console spot. I'm going to play my console.
Yeah.
And I hope these 3, I can find the TV remote, and my controller has batteries, and everything else. So I am hoping to alleviate it a bit with the iPad, but it certainly represents, gaming dad time lost, because I'm going to have to redo it.
Right.
Another time. How fast did you blast through it? So I'm thinking this time now I can get to the same point I'm at and not talk to a single NPC, not read any dialogue, not see a single cutscene, just like blast, like get through it, basically.
I think you could. Yeah. Especially if you know where to go. I think you can get through it a third of the time, probably, to where you were.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I grinded that much, kind of against my usual, or my classic, I would call it Final Fantasy instincts.
Yeah.
As far as like,
this game, it's easy to grind, even if you need to, right? Like ×4 speed, you're like, and auto mode, right? Like those battles just take care of themselves.
We just tape the controller to the left, so you'll be doing circles, and eventually you'll start fighting things. It'll be fine.
Yeah, solve the game for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll give it up. I'd love to hear some examples or stories from gaming dads who've kind of fought the same thing, have like lost a gaming progress for the sake of their kids. A great gaming dad sacrifice.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, you guys have your system. I'll give up my save file. No, not your save file, Dad. Hey.
Please don't.
Hey. Not for us. That's okay, Dad.
Don't say I don't do anything for you.
Yeah. This is your Christmas gift, okay? You're not getting anything else.
Don't ask for college.
Not college. Oh. And with that heroic gaming dad note, we'll wrap it up. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the podcast, you can find it on any of the major podcasting networks. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, any of them. A subscription, a comment, and a rating of it really helps us out. If you want to reach out to the show, we would love to hear from you. One of the greatest parts, we just had our 200th episode, which, again, like to rehash what we had said on that show was, it's been such an honor and like a enjoyable journey for us, but part of that is the interactions with the gaming dads we met along the way. So if you have a gaming dad story and a topic you'd like to discuss, an audio, you want to share us an audio clip or a photo, like have any thoughts on something we discussed in the show, drop us a note. So at New Dad Gaming on Twitter, we'd love to hear from you, or you can reach out to us on our website through email, newdadgaming.com. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, my name is Trevor, and I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I'm an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and I might just go curl up on the couch with the Switch. I'm not sure. Now that we
kind of compelled now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. But just because you became a dad
doesn't mean it's game over.